I went from prison to private jets, man.
Straight out the lab. Straight out the lab, joined today by my friend and something that's been planned for a long time. The fastest knockout in combat history, Uly Monster.
Right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. Great to see you, man.
Great to have you here in the gym.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, we are both. We just talk about what happened yesterday. Yeah. We both are nursing little niggles.
Yeah.
My knees, your hamstring.
Yeah.
We played yesterday in the celebrity sweat football game, flag football.
Yeah.
But I think there was more injuries in that game than I think in some professional football.
There was. It was a shit show. First off, shout out to Celebrity Sweat.
Shout out to Celebrity Sweat.
Amazing cause. Amazing people behind the organization. I've been playing with them for the last 4 years. I actually won MVP 2 years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm always on Team McGrady. Yesterday, first play of the game, I told McGrady I'm going long. 10 steps down the field, I feel some shit pop in the back of my leg. Didn't play yet, and yesterday was the first time I actually got to play with Ashley, with my fiance on the team. She did amazing, caught some balls. She looked like a pro football player. She deserved the Heisman.
She was
out
snapping.
There. Yeah, she did great. I'm on the sideline like moping, like, man, I feel like an asshole.
Well, you've done a great job of pulling it off.
Thank you.
It was really until the second half I started looking at you, be like, I think he's done something with his hamstring because you slowed yourself down a little because there was only so much I think you could front.
Yeah, exactly.
But just talking about the Celebrity Sweat thing, it was my first year this year, and great organization.
Great.
There was so many people in the stands there that supported both myself and you, and then the incredible cause of doing it for the vets, right? So we both had a great experience, even though we're kind of old man nursing everything. We talk about the injuries before we got on the podcast, but the event itself was incredible. Great experience, as I said. Celebrities from all genres, from actors, DJs, and
Pauly D had a squad out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Cool. So there was something going on. I think they were doing some Jersey Shore,
right? Yeah,
and they had Pauly D had the fat heads out, and he had all the kids yelling. I had my own cheer squad there. Unfortunately, it was very close to Pauly D, so they might have been, drowned out a little bit. But I did hear my people shouting as well as I heard your people too, which you had actually behind me talking crap about because we were on opposing teams, which we did mention too.
That's right.
So Uly and me and I've been friends now for quite some time when we were living in Florida. And obviously you mentioned your amazing fiance, Ashley, who has been a near and dear friend of mine for many a year. I've seen her rise in her path, being a professional wrestler, and an incredible wrestler at that too. And when you guys got together, it made me so happy, because again, I've got to know you now more on the personal level and know more about your story. And this is why I'm excited to bring you on the show to talk about that story, because this has been truly earned. You have, again, an incredible story from, through fight and everything else, but there's much more to you. You have this incredible look, stature, scary at times. Everybody's seen the bloodied up faces from the wars that you get in, but you have another side that I've been privileged to get to know, which is a very gentle, very loving and giving side too. And that to me is what separates you from the pack, because we see you in the cage. I mean, when you get locked in the cage, or in bare knuckle, which are incredible in, there's a lot of trauma that powers that.
Absolutely.
And again, that story is one to be told on this show. But again, we just spoke about the Celebrity Sweat. But not only that, you just came off another bare knuckle win 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
And there was another, a bloody show. That's right. And this guy's like Wolverine. I see him today. Yeah, what do you pick up, lads? You said you had a scar or something on your...
Yeah. During the fight, I got a little headbutt because the guy he was a lefty, I'm a righty, so that happens a lot.
Yeah.
So we headbutted. I had a cut on my head. But thank God, genetics and just I don't know, just life, man. I take care of myself well, and I heal up very good. Thank God.
I mean, you heal up like Wolverine. I think it was the next day I seen you. Yeah, you had your swelling and stuff, but geez, looking at the fight and then looking at you the next day, it's like, what the hell is in this blood? We should start pulling this guy, pulling some vials out of this guy and put him in storage. Yeah, exactly. And then, what was it? A week later, you run the...
Yeah, 10 days later, I ran 26.2 miles. I ran my first marathon. No training whatsoever.
Wow. Just threw yourself right in.
Threw myself right in, yeah.
So I want to talk about that later in the show.
Absolutely.
Because it has a massive meaning to it and an incredible story at that. But tell us about Uly. Oops, excuse me. Tell us a story about Uly and the beginnings of childhood.
Absolutely. So we'll it's like an onion, it has layers, and sometimes I smell like one too after the thing. So
I don't think anybody's going to tell you no different.
And I want to tell you first, thank you so much for this opportunity. You are a legend yourself. You know what I mean? And it's amazing to be here with you, and it's amazing to call you a brother. You know what I mean? So thank you for this opportunity. So starting at the beginning of my story, born and raised in Miami, raised by a single mom. My mom has worked her ass off, still works her ass off. So as she worked her ass off to put clothes on my back and a roof over my head, I was a single child trying to figure things out on my own. I never had a male role model. And I always tell people, I don't say this for a pity trip, for a pat on the back or nothing. I never had an uncle, never had a cousin, never had a dad, never had a stepdad, nothing like that. So I never had a male role model tell me, hey, kid, look, you're good at this, stay away from this. And I never had that. I had to figure it out on my own. Along the way, my friends became my family. So, I grew up with certain guys, and they weren't, that's your friend. No, that's my brother. You know what I mean? That's my brother. But I always liked to dabble in the bad stuff. It always called my attention. So at a young age, I'd get in trouble. I always fought. I like to tell people, this is the truth. I was never a bully. I was never out there picking on people who couldn't fight. My mom worked late hours, so I on my bus driver would keep me on the bus till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So I'd go from elementary school, where I was supposed to get dropped off. I'd be picking up middle school kids and high school kids on the bus, and I'm picking fights with these grown kids. And I was a knucklehead, you know what I mean? They chased me out of the bus, stomped me out, and beat me up. And I was a kid who just kept coming back. I was never scared. I kept coming back. And it would get to the point where maybe they weren't scared of me because I know I was a little kid, but they're like, this guy's different. Like, yo, don't even quit him. He's like he doesn't quit, And I kept that. I always had that in me. And I was the anti-bully. Like, if I did see somebody getting bullied in school, I'd go pick on the bully. And I was just growing up in the streets of Miami. As I got into middle school and teenage years, I dabbled in, bagging up a little weed and doing my things in the street. Then, in high school, you get a little bigger, fights get a little more serious. I got expelled from high school for fighting in school. I got sent to juvenile detention center, did some time in juvenile detention center. As a young man, when I turned 18, a guy I grew up with, he had told me, hey, man, I'm going to the Coast Guard. You should look into the Coast Guard with me. We'll go together on this buddy program. And again, for my friends, these are my family. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. So I went from like on the streets, gang life, to the military. I went and joined the buddy program with him. Went to Cape May, New Jersey, where the boot camp is for Coast Guard. Got through the Coast Guard. In the Coast Guard boot camp, there's a million stories there where I got in trouble. They'd call me out. I got sent to this jail in boot camp where they put you with a pink belt and you got to like march screaming to the top of your lungs, left. And when I graduated from boot camp, all the instructors, they would come to me and they told me, Diaz, I knew you could do it. We used to pick on you on purpose just to could you, but we knew you could do it.
Try and break you.
Yeah, try and break me. And but even as a kid, I knew the mentality of like, I know what I'm stepping into. They're trying to put me. So then was in the Coast Guard, got in a fight in the street. This was when I was 23 years old. I got sent to prison. So I was as a young man, I went to 2004, 5, and 6. I was in prison for fighting on the street. Fighting got me in a bunch of trouble. Got me again put in juvenile detention centers. I went to prison as a young man. I came out of prison. I already had 2 kids. I had a stepkid and I had my daughter already. So I come out. I grew up with Pitbull. That's my brother still to this day.
The rapper.
The rapper, yeah. The singer, Pitbull. That's my brother still to this day. Yeah. He's been, me and him been best friends since we're 11 years old. Lived together many times. So in 2006, when I come out, it's kind of like he's on the rise at that time. I got it in May. He comes and sees me and tells me, hey, I'll give you, take May to yourself, hang out with the family. In June, you're going on the road with me. So I like to tell people I went from prison to private jets, man.
Wow.
In May 2006, I came out of prison. In June, I was in Seoul, South Korea. I was in Antwerp, Belgium. I was in Milan, Italy. I was in Okinawa, Japan. I went through all the United States. I was working security, quote unquote, head of security for my best friend. Something I was doing for free my whole life. He's paying me. I'm staying in hotels, and there's women all around the world. There's everything. It was a great time. I'm with the man. So I did that for a couple years. But back then he wasn't what he is now. So the pay wasn't as steady. Again, I know I'm trying to raise kids. I'm trying to figure myself out still, and I started dabbling back on the streets. Out of respect for him, we had a meeting and I told him, look, man, I'm still doing this, he's a great brother that he is. He's like, man, get out of that shit. I'm telling you, we got this opportunity here. I didn't see it. You know what I mean? I didn't see it. And it's hard for people to see somebody else's dream. You know what I mean? So I stayed in the streets. He rocketed it up. And I when I go speak to kids, I tell them the stories. They're like, look, you got two guys that grew up together.
Yeah.
One followed this path and he went like this. And the other guy bumped into every wall he could on the way up. Thank God I was able to turn it around. But to get to where I'm at now is in 2016, February 2016. I had been in Colorado doing. I was part of the Green Rush, and I was doing my thing there. And then,
sorry, what is the Green Rush?
Growing.
Okay,
growing over there in Colorado.
Good.
So I was part of that over there, and then I had come to Miami, and I got caught up in some shit, man, where I got in trouble down here in Miami, and that started. It was a blessing in disguise. At the moment, I thought my life was over. I thought I was going back to prison. I thought I was looking at a long time. I turned my life around, started, I'm like, fuck, I got scared. Now I'm out on bond. I'm like, fuck, I can't be doing what I'm doing anymore. I get caught up, it's over. That's it. They're going to fucking melt the key. So I'm done. So I got into boxing. I had been training already. I had always been training. I did amateur boxing as a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. So now I get back into fighting, come back to Miami. I'm training at Fifth Street Gym. Shout out to them. They're like family. That's my gym. And this is November and December 2016. Right before New Year's of 2017, I told my coach, hey, man, I think I'm ready for a fight. He said, you sure? Like, yeah. Like, okay, cool. 3 days later, they come back, all right, look, your first fight is January 27th, 2017. This is like 3 weeks away in Dominican Republic. I was like, oh, shit. All right. I had it's a reality check, and went to Dominican Republic, fought, got a first-round knockout, man. I remember when I hit this dude and I sit him on his ass, and then they raised my hand. I had a couple of them, I had some family and friends there, and it was just the biggest rush of life, Flex. You know what I mean? It was the biggest rush. I'm sure you felt it when you're on stage and they say, James Flex Lewis is the winner. It's this weird moment where you just like, and that's what I felt. I just felt this elating moment.
It was your purpose.
It was my purpose, and. So I got back to Miami, kept training. I was still 50-50. I was still on the fence where I was still on the street and still, I was still trying to figure it out. But being at the boxing gym made me really accountable because the days I would miss, my coach would call me and be like, hey, what's going on? And they knew what I was in, so they were trying to keep me out of that shit. Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? How come you weren't at the gym today? You all right? Everything good? Like, yeah, okay. So, and I'm a guy who, I'm big on my word. If I give you my word, I got to be it. So got me more in the gym about a year into it. Now a year into it, I'm like 5-0 in boxing. I'm like, you know what? It's either this or that. I'm like, the streets, I got to get the out of here for not myself, more for my kids. I want to see my kids grow up. I want to give them a good life. I want them. I've been hiding my whole life from my kids. So now I want to give them something to be proud of me about. So I left that shit behind, and man, it's been an amazing journey. I'm 14-1. in boxing. I had 13 knockouts. I am 4-2 in bare knuckle. I fought for the world title 2 times. Came up short, but I fought some legends. I have the fastest knockout in combat sports history. I'm 2-1 in MMA. Excuse me. And life is amazing, man. I got opportunities like this to talk to you. I'm playing football in Celebrity Sweat. I'm traveling the world. My fiance is an amazing, beautiful woman. She's an angel. She's been God sent, and life has really turned around for me, man. It's gotten great, and And it feels like, you know, and not to get religious, but I do believe in God, and I feel like God has really always been telling me, man, like the moment you give all this bullshit up, you're gonna see what your life does. And I gave it all up, and it went boom.
So let's take us back to that pivotal moment where you were 50-50.
Right.
What things did you change for you to just be all in?
So the most important thing I changed was I stopped answering my phone for everybody, including my mom, including my family. I put my phone away. That was something that was a source of anxiety for me, was my phone, because I'd be training and I'd hear my phone ring and I'm thinking I'm missing out on money or something. So I'd be, you know, pop, 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 hitting the gym. Oh shit, I gotta. And so first thing I did was leave my phone alone. Stop answering phone calls for any so-called friends or family, because believe it or not, even people who care about you will drag you out of, drag you out of it. They're not trying to get you into anything bad, but they'll get you out of your zone. So I stopped that maybe for, I want to say a good 4 to 6 months. I didn't answer anybody's calls. That people had to come check on me. My mom would be like, yo, you okay? You okay? I'm like, yeah. I don't want to fuck with nobody. I got to like focus. So that to me was the most important thing.
Was that hard?
It was very hard. It was very hard because, you know, I was the guy who was always on the streets. I did everything. I was well known on the streets already. So you get that FOMO, the fear of missing out, you know? So you're sitting at home, you're not doing shit. Like, I wonder what everybody's doing, you know? Then you go on Instagram.
And you see it.
And and everybody has their proudest moments on Instagram, you know? Then you call them and like, oh, no, man, I just took a picture. You know?
Yeah.
The rest of the night sucked. But I got over it. You know? And again, through this time, I'm training, I'm fighting. I got my now he's 10 years old, but at the time he was a little baby. He was 4, 5, 6 years old, and he's with me. He's so proud of me, you know. And I got my nephew too. My nephew's more like my son than he is my nephew.
You call him your son, don't you?
Yeah, I call him my son, exactly. So he's they're so proud of me. They're in the gym with me every day. Everybody knows them. You know, in my gym, Fifth Street Gym it's world famous, man. I got all types of people walking through there. So they're, you know, it's amazing. You know, I got famous people that know my name. And it gives me the sense of being somebody, you know, and I don't got to hide who I am no more. And so the most important, back to your question, most important thing to me was just cut myself off from the world, just focusing on what I needed to do.
And some of these people you grew up with, as you said, you call them family, right?
Yeah. Still to this day, man. Still to this day, they call me all the time. They text me, and I don't text back. And I send messages through people. Hey, let them know I love them, man, because I do. I love you, and it's no hard feelings. But you're still doing what you do. And I got to stay over here, brother. And it's not that I'm afraid I'll go back, because I know where I'm at now. I can never look back, you know. But I just do your thing, brother. I don't want to get caught up in any phone calls. I don't want to get caught up in any conversations. You know what I mean? None of that shit. So, and I'm very happy where I am. And now, you know, I've been with Ashley now for 4 years. She's had a lot to do with that, you know, because when she came in, she I want to say, you know, for lack of better words, she taught me how to, like, hey, look, man, you're not better than people, but you're better than that. You know, you gotta kind of figure out how to, you know. And she came from a world where she was on TV and she was, you know, a star in her own right. So she taught me how to handle myself, you know, in the right situations.
Such as what, like on TV or just in general?
No, in general, in general. Like, you know, I for example, I'd go out and I'd hang out with some friends, and we'd be out somewhere, and, you know, in public, and I'd be drinking or something. She'd come up, she'd like, look, you know, you like, these guys, nobody knows these guys. Everybody knows you. So you're out there taking a picture with a beer in your hand or a drink in your hand. Like, you're better than that. Let's try to fix these things up. Let's try to clean up. And the good thing about, you know, not to brag or nothing like that, but the good thing about me is that I can take criticism very well. So I'm a guy who can look in and be like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I could do better than that, you know. Now, I'm not a guy who be like, oh, what do you mean, or try to fight it like a lot of people do. No, I'd be like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I am better than that. I can do better. And not only fuck whoever's watching on Instagram or shit, I got my kids watching me, you know what I mean? And I don't need to have a vape in my hand or a fucking drink in my hand, you know what I mean? Because they're little kids. They're like, oh, Dad, you know, they see me as a Superman athlete.
Absolutely.
They're like, well, what do you got, Dad? What are you doing with that, Dad? You told me that's bad. What are you doing, you know? So slowly but surely, I've gotten to where I'm at now, where I don't drink, I don't smoke. I live a very healthy life. I got, you know, I got a great fiance, great mom to my kids, and just a great foundation, great
Yeah.
people around me, pushing me up at all times.
You mentioned faith earlier. Was that something that grew stronger?
That definitely grew stronger. So back in 1999, when I've been through, my mom and I have been through every religion. Me through my mother, you know what I mean. I'm Cuban nationality, so that's a Catholic. That's mostly Catholic. So we started off there, going to the church, every once in a while, Christmas and Easter and stuff. Then we've transitioned through different things, into different religions. And then in 1999, I was about 18 years old, and I was getting, I was in and out of trouble. This is right before I went to the Coast Guard and stuff. In and out of trouble and fighting and getting arrested and getting sent to the juvenile detention center, where some lady came to my mom. She's like, man, have you Christianity, have you tried Jesus Christ? I was like, you know what? I got nowhere else to turn. Let me try this guy Jesus. Let me see what he's all about. From that moment on, my mom's an ordained minister now. She's a pastor.
Way.
Yeah. Me and my mom, we pray at all times.
Wow.
And it's gone deeper for me. She's super into it. Where my mom, she's even part of a church. She's huge into it. I don't go into church as much, but I believe I pray every day. I give thanks every day over my food. If it at least it bring it to the least thing I do is like thank you Jesus, and I know that where I'm at today has a lot to do with all my mom's prayers, and because it has to be somebody up there that's been driving this car, man. Because I've seen many people next to me, just like I'm sure you have along the way. A lot of people just fall, man, fall. Either rest in peace. Or they're behind bars, or just many fucking different stories, and mine I've been able to chug along. It's been hard. I've crashed into a couple walls, but that's what happens to that's what happens to God's warriors. He gives them some hard battles, and we're here today to talk about them.
I love it. You mentioned in a couple, because obviously we follow each other. So on your Instagrams and social media, you're very open and honest. Talking about many different things, faith included, talking about your failures, which most people only post highlight reels, right? Goes back to what we said earlier. But I remember watching something where you said, I put my mum through hell. And now, obviously, the relationship you have is so beautiful. You always talk about your mum. You're a great dad. I got to preface that. You always talk about your family and how much motivation that is to you. But obviously, your mum being in your corner for everything, even when you were a little bit of a naughty boy too, right? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure she's so proud now. Even watching, I got to meet her yesterday. Probably one of the bigger fan clubs you have over there with the kids. Yeah. But now seeing you in this new part of your life, I'm sure she's like, wow, I'm so proud of you.
She's extremely proud of me. You know what I mean? Over the top proud. But more than anything, she's relaxed now. I let her relax. Where before I had her on edge, if her phone went off past 10 o'clock at night, she'd jump up and she didn't know what the next call was about. So she's definitely, in a great headspace. She's good. She sees, again, I have, Ashley's an angel. She and her and my mom are like best of friends, you know what I mean? And my mom and her family, which is our family, have become best of friends. That's another blessing that everybody just became great, and when I first got with Ashley, and Ashley's like, oh look, this is the guy I'm talking to right now. Like any parent, like, who's the guy? They Google me, I know my look, which I love about me, because I'm an oxymoron, you know what I mean? Because I know I look a certain way. I have the gold teeth. I had the dreadlocks back then, remember? Mm-hmm. I got the scars all over my face. I got tattoos everywhere. But I take pride in being the nicest guy you can meet. And I go out of my way to be the nicest guy. And you can be an asshole, and I'll go out of my way to be nice to you. Now, like anybody, we all have the limitations. Yeah. We're like, okay,
light in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I go out of my way to be the nicest person to everybody. I like to I take pride in that, Yeah. So once we got to meet and everything, and now they're family, they're mom and dad. Of
course,
yeah.
And her parents are salt of the earth too.
Salt of the earth,
amazing people.
So salt of the earth people. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. I love it. We mentioned obviously the kids, right, and being just a massive drive for you. And recently, your son just beat cancer, and that was one of your massive drives for many different things. Now, I didn't know that your boy was going through this. Yeah. And as much as you post, I guess I missed this, but what a warrior. What a warrior. Can you tell us about what he went through?
Yeah, this is where the waterworks started. Yeah, we didn't post any about this shit on Instagram. No GoFundMe's, no pray for my kid, no none of that. We handled it internally through family. Yeah, and he is a warrior. The fight he just won has nothing compared to anything I've ever been through in my life. And he's only 10 years old. So I'll tell you, in 2022, the end of it, maybe November, December, my son plays tackle football and he plays basketball. So late in 2022, he was complaining about his quad, like a soreness in his quad. So again, he plays tackle football, he plays basketball. I'm thinking he got Charlie horsed, like somebody hit him. Excuse me. I'm thinking somebody hit him or something, with a knee or something. Gradually got a little worse. I got to the point where he wouldn't let anybody touch it.
Who's that?
Oh, shit. That might be. Is that my phone? Sorry.
Uly's got his alarm on saying...
The boys from school, alarm. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back.
We prolonged the tears.
Yeah.
Maybe you set that alarm.
I think my phone knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So late 2022, he had complained about it. Again, I thought it was a Charlie horse. I thought it was something to do with his sports. Beginning of 2023, he still complained about it. He wouldn't let anybody touch it. So I take him to his primary early in 2023. And his primary doctor has been a doctor for almost 40 years. I know the guy for over 20 years. Great doctor. So I'm like, hey, doc, this is happening. He's like, oh, no, that's nothing. That's growing pains. You sure? Yeah, it's growing pains. Shit, okay, it's growing pains. After that, he's still complaining about it. I take him to another friend that's a physical therapist. My son's like, Dad, don't let him touch it.
Wow.
And the last thing you're thinking is it's cancer. You know what I mean? That's the last thing you're thinking. So I'm like, come on, son, let him put some little electrical patches on it. And he's like, Dad, please don't let him touch it. I'm like, all right, cool. A couple weeks go by. When I'm dropping my son off at school, he's limping out of my car. So I called the primary. I told him, hey, doc, I need MRIs. He's like, oh, no, it's not like that. You need x-rays. You know how it goes. The insurance run around they give you. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I go and I pick him up from school. Pick him up from school. I take him straight to the hospital emergency, and I take him to do x-rays. By the time I get him back, so I take him to do x-rays. By the time I get him back to school, they send the results over to his primary. His primary calls me and tells me, hey, they found a lesion on his femur bone. I need you to take him back to the hospital. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. So I pick him up from school.
Did you know the severity of this at this point in time?
I had no idea.
Okay.
I had no idea, and he tells me, take him to oncology. I didn't even know what oncology was. I got to Google it, and that's a cancer doctor. So I'm like, what is this? So I take him back. His birthday is March 3rd, so he had his 10th birthday March 3rd. He had a great time with his friends, but it was a pool party. All his friends are like tackle football friends are playing football. He's mostly in the pool, and he's kind of he's limping around. So now this is like March 8th or 9th. We take him to the primary tells me. I take him back. They tell him, okay, we're gonna run scans on him on Monday. So they send me home with a walker. So Sunday, the 12th of March. The 12th of March is the Sunday. I'm taking him out just to waste just to have him get his mind off things. He's on a walker. He hurts himself. He's just walking. He's like, oh, Dad, my leg. So I'm in a parking lot. Got to run, get my car, come put him in the car. We go back to emergency. We stay in the hospital Sunday. Monday the 13th in the morning, they run MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, and they do a biopsy. The next day, March 14th, that's my birthday. That was my 42nd birthday. In the morning, they're like, happy birthday. Your son has osteosarcoma. It's a cancerous tumor in his femur bone. We need to start chemotherapy immediately. 10 weeks of chemotherapy. He has surgery. We got to remove his femur bone. And then it's 18 more weeks of chemotherapy after he heals from the surgery. So we started that immediately, man. And Nicholas, shout out to Nicholas Children's Hospital, to all the nurses on the 6th floor with the kids. They're freaking amazing, man. They're angels. we started chemotherapy. The first question my son asked the girl who's explaining to him what's going on and what cancer is and, chemo. And he's like, am I going to lose my hair? She's like, yeah, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose your hair. It's something that comes with it. Wow. He's like, all right. So I had, my boy, shout out to Zeus too. He came over, my barber, and when he's in the hospital, we shaved our heads. I shaved my head. I had long hair. I shaved my head. All of us shaved our heads. My coach in boxing shaved his head.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started 10 weeks of chemotherapy. Then he did surgery in May of 2023. He had a surgery. This is where they remove his femur bone. Well, let me go back real quick. Before this happened, so the tumor is eating through your femur bone. It makes it brittle. So one day we're at home and his femur, it breaks, but it doesn't just break. It collapses on itself. So then he's in a cast called a spica cast, which goes around your waist and all the way down one leg, all the way down your ankle. He had that for like 6 or 7 weeks. Had to live through that. So then we do surgery where they remove his femur bone. They put a cadaver bone. They took his fibia out. They put his fibia inside the cadaver bone, so it would regenerate his DNA faster. They put that, so he has a scar from his hip all the way down to his ankle. He hasn't walked in over a year. He's learning how to walk now. We just went to the doctor not too long ago. They said he could put full weight bearing on it. So thank God for that. He's walking a little bit on it. He did 18 more weeks of chemo after that. And that's it, man. He rang the bell in November, so he's cancer-free. We just did some scans last week. We did scans when he got out. He rang the bell. He's cancer-free. And then we did some other scans just recently. Cancer-free. Thank God. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you during this time period of fight then? Were you having fights on?
So February of 2023, I fought in London. I was a co-main event for Floyd Mayweather. Fought in London. In March is when he gets diagnosed, right? He had his surgery in May. They had called me to be the co-main event for Floyd Mayweather versus Gotti in Florida. Yeah. My son had 5 weeks off from surgery before he started chemo again, and the fight landed in that time. So he got to come see me there. His surgeon came to my fight. I had him all front row ringside. My son, the surgeon, everybody. So I got the fight. That was when Floyd Mayweather and Gotti fought. That there was like a huge rumble. It was crazy. Yeah. So I got the fight. I fought twice, and honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. And not too many people know this. The only reason I took that fight was because I hadn't made any money that year except in February. So I'm like, I need to make a couple of bucks. This is on the table for me. I took the fight, made a couple dollars. Didn't look good in the fight whatsoever. You know what I mean? And shout out to Khalis Kareem over in London. That was my opponent. He looked great. He did his job. But yeah, man, I got beat up that fight. I took that fight I came out of the hospital room, went, fought, and came back to the hospital. And but whatever, we got it done, and he got to ring the bell in November, and he's cancer free. Yeah, so I only took one fight during that time, and that's right after he had the surgery.
Where was your mind at in that fight? Were you there?
Honestly, I wasn't, man. Honestly, I was. That was another time where I was 50-50, where I'm in the fight, and the fight game's somewhere where you got to be present at all times, because you're getting punches thrown at you, But I wasn't in any type of shape. I'm telling you, I'd sleep in the hospital. We were sleeping in the hospital. I'd wake up at 5 in the morning, go to my boxing gym, be there by like 6, get a couple rounds in, be back to the hospital by like 8 in the morning. So that way, when my son's waking up, I'm not missing. He's there. I never missed a beat while he was going through any of his things. I was by his side. Ashley and I were by his side through his whole entire ride. My mom was there, and again, all the nurses on the 6th floor that's what they deal with. Oncology unit and Nicholas Children's Hospital were right there. They were amazing.
What did you learn from your son during this battle with cancer?
Man, I learned. I never had a doubt on how strong he was, but this is just he got battle tested, and he came out the other end as a winner. I learned how precious life is, how again, the day they told me I had cancer, the day everything started was my birthday. So imagine, we had plans, dinner plans, and it shows you that life is like that. There's no plans, There's a saying, they say you make plans and God laughs, and that's something that ran through my head all the time, because, again, we're planning some dinner for my birthday and this and that and the other, and no, brother, no, this is what life is, and it taught me how how the closest, most important people around me, how great they are for my family, how they were there every step of the way, you know. And again, we handled it. We didn't tell any of our close friends. We didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell anybody. We didn't post any pictures. Nobody really knew until recently when I won my fight. My son came up and you know and because I brought another kid that he's battling with cancer for the last 3 years, brought him on stage and gave him and his family tickets. He's been going through it for 3 years fighting. Wow. You know, yeah. So it's crazy, man. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy when you're, you know, as life goes. You know, as you go through life, you find out people have cancer. You're like, that's crazy. Damn, you know, I'll pray for them. You know, what can I do to help? But when it hits close to home, it's like, holy shit, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, you kind of have more empathy to hearing other people's news, I guess, right?
Exactly.
It's so close to home. My mother obviously went through cancer, and it was a wild time. By the way, congratulations on not crying. Yeah. I thought you were coming close. The alarm broke it up. I think you got saved by the bell. No pun intended.
I started tearing up right when we started bringing it up. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, it goes. And that alarm went off. I think somebody was listening. He was like, okay, we're gonna keep Uly macho here.
Shout out to Apple.
But in the ring, you spoke about that. You brought your son in. You made the announcement, and you announced to the world that your son is now cancer free. Yeah. And that's the first time I found out about it. No,
I'm telling you, I had my closest friends, like people I speak to on a daily basis, you know, and I would never tell somebody, hey, I'm at the hospital with my kid, I'm going through this, I'm going through nothing. We just handled it. I'm a guy that throughout my life, I've never, that's why I said at the beginning when I told you I didn't grow up with any male role model. First thing I said was, I don't want a pity trip. I've always been like that. That's why yesterday, you know, I fucking blew my hamstring.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I didn't say anything, you know, it's something that's been instilled in me. I don't want the pity trip. I don't want the you know, I don't know what it is in me. I guess some past trauma where I don't want somebody saying like, oh, this happened because of that, or, you know. So yeah, I just never brought it up to anybody. We handled it internally. Thank God, you know, for insurance and you know, thank God that you know, I'm far from rich, but I'm in a place where things can get handled internally.
Yeah, and obviously we got to see him yesterday and he talked some shit to me because I was on the opposing team. Definitely the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in a nice way. He was very respectful. And one thing I will say about this is you obviously had a different upbringing, and seemingly your kids have been steered away, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. But they know your story, being open and honest about them. You don't, obviously you represent the 305 passionately, hence, you know, the t-shirt you're wearing right Absolutely. Now. But then there's also a lot of people that, I guess, you know, as they're getting older too, Uly's your dad, you know, they want to get in the clique and cool. How are you installing your boys with kind of the knowledge to steer away from some of the temptations that you grew up with?
Well, I tell them what I went through. I don't hold anything back when it comes to my life. I tell them what I went through. You know, we go through pictures, and I show them pictures of me in prison, and they know I had no dad. They know I had no uncle. Mm-hmm. They know I had no what they have as me in their life. I didn't have any of that. So, you know, I tell them how my job is to keep them away from everything I did and for them to have a better life. And do right by them as much as possible. You know, that's my job in life is, you know, is to do right by them, keep them out of any danger that I can. Of course, you want them to figure things out on their own, but you kind of want to school them to what they're gonna figure out. Like, hey, look, this is gonna come. Like as a recent thing, you know, my son and my sons, basically my son and my nephew, they had this little friend. Little kid's a knucklehead, and you know he remember they're all young, they're all 10-year-old little kids, but this little kid's kind of disrespectful. So I told him, listen, do me a favor, block him on your whatever little social media you have him, TikTok and all this, block him on that, block his phone number, and take him off all the little group chats that they have, because that's what these little kids do. Take him off that. I go, the worst thing you could do to somebody, and this is from experience. Worst thing, because I could go beat you up, but then, you know, guess what? I feel wrong about what I did. Yeah. You know, if I go and I beat you up about me being mad about you, yeah, okay, I might have won the fight, but I feel bad for what I did. You know, it wasn't something that I'm gonna feel good about. The worst thing I could do to you is stop being your friend and stop talking to you. So I told him, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna stop, and the worst thing you do to him is he's gonna lose you as a friend for being that way.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's the kid's feeling it. You know what I mean? And we're not trying to like punish anybody because the kid he's a kid too, but that's one of the lessons I've taught my son. Like, listen, you don't put up with anything, and then if you feel like you do something, the worst thing you could do to somebody is just cut them off.
Yeah. There's excuse me. There's a lot of life's lessons that, as you said, are going to be learned from a 10-year-old. He's already lived probably, hell of a story compared to anybody many people on this earth going through the battle he's done. Have you seen a change in him now coming out through the other side of this from cancer?
Absolutely. My son, the thing about my son, he's always been like an older soul. He's like, he likes older hip hop music. He's very intelligent. He gets great grades in school. He can hold a conversation like he's an adult. So, but yeah, he knows what he went through, and it helps when guys like you and, Tracy McGrady, which he looks up to, he's a basketball player, all these guys that they come and they know that he went through this, and they're like, man, you're a freaking warrior. It's amazing what you went through. The rest of your life compared to what you just went through is going to be easy. You're only 10 years old, So
yeah,
I know he takes that in. It's hard to understand what that means right now, but I know once he gets to 15, 20, 25, he's going to look back at the time and be like, yeah,
absolutely.
these guys were right.
Absolutely. Well, shifting from one fight to another, fastest knockout. My guy, I remember watching that.
Right.
And I was like, shit, it's over already? Talk us through that event and what was different about that fight than any other fight.
All right, so I'll tell you, that was during the COVID year. That was November of 2020. So COVID hit actually March 13th. My birthday was a Saturday that year, March 14th. Friday that year, my coach took another fighter to Minnesota, and that was the first fight they had with no crowd inside an arena.
Oh, that's weird, right?
So my birthday the next day, I was at the beach. Then we were supposed to have a dinner, and guys were going, hey, I'm not going to make it. You heard about this COVID stuff? I was like, what? So, but then it got serious. So I built a whole gym in my backyard. I had a ring. I had bags. By just coincidence, at the time, my coach at the time was my backdoor neighbor. So we'd literally walk around the block. Yeah, great guy. Shout out to Commander Zero. So I was back there training. Everybody saw that they call it 3 seconds. It was less than 2, But it was a lot of training to get to those 3 second knockouts. 2020, I never stopped training. Like I said, in my backyard, we trained on a daily basis. Got ready. I studied my opponent. He was a taller guy. I noticed that when people would attack him, first thing he'd do is put his chin in the air and try to put his hands out. And I go, man, coach, I'm gonna rush this guy. And if he does that, I'm gonna knock him out. And man, it came like I'm telling you, I have great videos of before the fight. I have a video of Ashley saying, they come up to Ashley and Ashley, this is the day before the fight. I have a video. I would love to show you. I'll send it. Maybe
we'll put on B-roll.
I would love it. You'll see it. Go, Ashley, how do you think this fight's gonna go? She goes, ding, ding, ding. The bell rings. He comes in. She goes, maybe 15, 20 seconds, knockout. Wow. Fastest knockout. He wins. It's over. I beat it by 12, 15 seconds, but it was amazing, man.
The walkout was, the announcement of your name was longer. Yeah, exactly. Uly Monster was.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that moment in that moment in history was like a lightning strike, man. It made my name ring bells around the world. It made me go viral. The next day I had calls from France, Russia, Japan, everybody, media. I did Radio Row for a couple months after that because of the knockout. I still get recognition because of the knockout. And it's as an athlete or just as anybody in life, I think you kind of sometimes, you wonder, like, what's going to be my moment in life? What am I going to leave? How's my legacy going to get left behind? And that was my moment. That was my moment where I hit him on the button, lightning struck, and I left my legacy on Earth that day.
Man, I think you nearly injured yourself in the post celebration. Yeah, I think you just went. I don't think you knew what to do.
So I was saying I was gonna be on on Sports Center's top 10, and then Sports Center's not so top 10, and like 3 seconds later, I almost knocked myself out jumping over the ring. Yeah.
You jumped up, and I don't know if you fell over or you caught yourself. Yes.
My feet got caught on the top rope, and I flipped right on my face.
Wow.
Yeah. But I didn't feel it. I was so happy.
Yeah. That clip, I can remember that happening. I watched it live. And the next complete week, I mean, there probably wasn't a sports channel that didn't highlight that. Yeah. Joe Rogan speaking about it, from ESPN to now CNN Sports. It was everywhere.
It was amazing.
It must have been a crazy time where, just being able to see yourself, that knockout over and over again.
It was amazing. It still goes viral. There's people send it to me all the time.
Have you seen this?
Yeah. From they say like, hey, tag him, and somebody tags me on it. Yeah. But yeah, man, like I said, it was just my moment in time. It was my moment in time, and again, people only see those 3 seconds. It was a lot of training going behind that. There was a lot of training. There's a lot of studying. There's a lot of work done for that to happen.
Yeah. I just want to go back on something you mentioned, COVID. How did you stay motivated during that period of time? Because a lot of athletes, friends of ours, they got into some deep depressions. Yeah. They lost their way. They lost their footing. They couldn't train. Some of them couldn't get into gyms. Obviously, conveniently, you had something in the backyard, and obviously your coach was backing up to you. But how were you able to kind of stay focused, knowing that nobody had any answers to when the next person was fighting?
You know what? Look, again, a blessing in my life is Ashley. She was with WWE at the time. WWE was an essential business, so she was still working. So we were working out every day, and it's great when you have a partner, that does this. Basically, she's a professional athlete as well. So we're in the same business. And it was great. And like I said, I'm telling you, we had a whole gym. We had a boxing ring back there. We had bags. I bought a treadmill. So we never missed a beat. And having her as a life partner, she's very motivating. And she's somebody that doesn't need a push to do what she does. Sometimes, I have my days where I'm like, man, I'm tired. I don't feel like going back there. And I see her. She not a peep. Goes out there, gets her little headbuds on, goes on the treadmill, gets her shit. I'm like, I can't let her work out by herself. I gotta get back there. And like anything else, those days are the best because then you work out, you get it done. You're like, I'm glad I did that. I would have felt like shit if I didn't. So I'm glad I did it. And we got through COVID, and it was the beginning of our relationship. Me and Ashley got together late 2019. So COVID hit early in our relationship, so we really figured out if we wanted to be with each other because we were trapped in the house, nothing to do together. And we figured out, like, hey, we really do love each other. I really love being with you, Probably 4 months into our relationship, which was like right the beginning of COVID. I remember she was on one of her WWE runs, and I rented a U-Haul, went to her apartment in Boca, packed it up in the U-Haul, and she got home. I'm like, you got a new house.
Out. Yeah, because that's how me and Ashley knew each other from, not knew each other, but got to see much more of one another because she was training in the gym.
Right.
When she was home.
She calls you a big brother.
Man. And I call her my sister. In fact, I've got a figurine that's in that studio over there. You didn't see that. I'll show you after the podcast. But again, what a inspiration and motivation. And one thing about her, she's amazing with her fans.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And obviously I know you are too, but you mentioned also that she rubbed off on a lot of these things,
absolutely.
Whether it's on the fans or whatever else, but nonetheless, I've seen her.
But my fans are nothing compared to her fans. She has international, crazy, real fans,
And she'll stay to the last person too. Yeah, speak to everybody. You've seen her what she was like with my daughter yesterday.
Yeah. Her heart doesn't fit in the room, man.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Is there anything exciting that you're working on right now, Uly, we can talk about?
Yeah, so I have a fight coming up. I don't know when this will air, but I got a fight coming up April 4th. That's a title eliminator. I'm fighting in Tampa. I'm going to knock that dude out. And then after that, I'm fighting for the title in my new promotion. I'm fighting for BYB. Shout out to BYB.
Shout out.
Those guys are amazing. Made me a great deal. I'm also a commentator and ambassador for the promotion. So I'll be at all their fights, even when I'm not fighting, commentating, doing some fighter interviews and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to winning a title somewhere late in 2024. And man, I'm 42. I'll be 43 in a few weeks. I don't know yet. You know what I mean? I don't know yet, but maybe the fighting side of my career might be coming to a close. Maybe I'll do some I want to be still involved with the promotion, maybe as fighter president, where I take care of all fighter, anything that has to do with fighters, and bringing fighters over to the promotion, doing whatever I can to help. But we'll see, because I still feel good, man. I feel good. I feel healthy. I'm in great shape. I work out every day. I feel good, but you can only take so many hits to the head, brother. You know what I mean? And you don't know which one is the one that's gonna be the damaging one. So
and it's bare knuckle.
And it's bare knuckle, yeah. Which they say is a lot safer than actually getting hit with gloves, because with a glove, you're not getting cut. You're getting pounded in the head 100 times. At least with bare knuckles, you get hit, you're gonna get a cut. Fight might be over. Either you get knocked out or they'll stop it because of cuts. So there's data out there saying that bare knuckles is actually safer.
Well, shit, I don't know about that, but
you can say that. Yeah.
No, because every fight you're in, you're not in wars,
right?
Being cut up and bloodbaths,
right. And my style of fighting, I'm prone to that, because I'm not a guy who's hopping around the ring. I'm not running away. I'm in your face and we're fighting.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go to the death. You know what I mean? If my nickname is the Monster, I like to say I'm only the monster when I get in the ring. And I'm telling you, if you're not willing to die in there with me, I'm willing to die. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people say it sounds cliche, sounds over the top, but that's what it is, man. Once I get in there, we're locked in there, and until it's over, I gotta go. I'm going 100 miles an hour.
Well, I want to talk about the bare knuckle world, because you're an incredible athlete in combat sports. You've got amazing record in MMA, amazing record in boxing. But what is it that really pulled you in for bare knuckle? What was that?
So they had offered me and bare knuckle. I originally fought for BKFC.
Yep.
They had reached out to me in 2019. We're trying to work something out. We didn't come to an agreement, because at the end of the day, this is all business. We're all trying to get something out of it, monetarily. We didn't come to an agreement. Early 2020, before COVID, my first one was February for them. So I fought on BKFC 10. I was one of the pioneers for them. First 10 shows.
I've been watching you, as you know.
Yeah, you were there. You were there. And we came to an agreement. Fought for them. I fought five times for them. Got the fastest knockout. Fought for 2 world titles on that promotion. But back to your question, what kept me there was, man, I think it's like grassroots. I think it's gladiator style. I think it's Romans versus the Greeks. The original fighting style. It's what got me in trouble as a kid a ton of times. I've done this a million times on the streets for free. Not even for free, because I had to pay out of pocket a bond out of jail when I did this thing. So now I'm getting paid. Again, I get the notoriety for it. It's putting me in amazing positions. It's got me this opportunity here. So, and now, like I said, I'm part of a new promotion. I'm part of BYB. They've really spotlighted me, and I'm trying to help this promotion get to the next level. So I think it's a great place to be right now. It is, as a fighter, I think bare knuckle is a great place to be, because just like UFC was at the beginning, where people were saying it was a human cockfighting, all this, and now look at all the acquisitions just happened. They're multi-billion-dollar business. I think that's what's going to happen with bare knuckle, and I'm one of the pioneers, so I would love to be part of a great promotion like I am now, that gets acquired, and I'm along for this big ride.
Well, certainly blown up, because when I was watching yourself fight in the single digits, I see R.I.P. Rumble Johnson.
That's right.
He was one of my boys.
Great friend of me too. Yeah.
Great human. Yes, we would go to the bare knuckle, and he was involved with something there.
Yeah,
but
he was there for the 3-second knockout also. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he was one of them guys that was like, "Hey, bro, you've got to come and watch this. This is wild." As if what he did wasn't wild, right? But he's like, "This is incredible. You've got to come and watch this." And what it is with South Florida and backyard fights and bare knuckle, that's really the home of bare knuckle, in my eyes anyway. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Kimbo Slice, George Masvidal, we started it.
Yeah, but now to see what that conversation happened, when it was obviously I was part of it, and Rumble talking about all these bare knuckle fights, and they were kind of trying to get sponsors, and they were trying to convince people why they should sponsor, to know fighting off, it's growing exponentially. But you've got guys like yourself who are representing the sport on and off as good pioneers, great pioneers, should I say.
Thank you.
But there's something to be said now for your legacy, right? And even if you was to retire right now, you'll be still talked about as one of the pioneers in bare knuckle. What is it that gets you still motivated and up in the morning?
Man, the story we just talked about, my 10-year-old son, man. He lives with me. I wake up every morning. He's on me. He knows this is what I do for a living. Like Dad, the gym, and now because of what he went through, I'm getting him back in shape. I got him eating right. I got him working out. So he's in a sense a workout partner for me. And something we kind of touched on in the beginning. So it was the marathon I just ran. I just ran 26.2 miles. I've never trained for it. I actually ran it 10 days after my fight. I fought January 18th. January 28th, I was running in Clearwater Marathon. Before that, 2 years before that, I ran 2 half marathons. That's 13 miles. So I ran double that this time. When I got to mile 17 on this marathon, I and Flex, I'm gonna tell you right now, I thought my ankles were. I thought I left them a couple miles behind. I don't know where my legs were, but I swear to God that the only thing I would think about was I got to mile 17 and I started walking a little bit. That was the first time I walked, right? On the 26 miles, I got to 17, I started walking. The only thing I would think about was I cannot tell my son that I quit this shit. Here goes with the tears. I cannot go back and tell my son that this hurt and I couldn't finish it. All I kept thinking was that then I kept looking at seeing his face in my mind. I'm like, there's no way I could tell this kid who just beat cancer. And I was thinking to myself, I ran it January 28th. This time last year he was going through his pain. We didn't know he had cancer. So I was like, he was fighting that shit the whole time. Never told anybody, didn't know shit. Was still playing football and basketball because we didn't know he had cancer. And he didn't complain. I'm like, there's no way. So I dug deep, man. I ran it, and I finished running it. I got to mile 20. So it's 26.2 miles. I got to mile 24. I walked for like 3/4 of a mile. Then I ran to 25. And then 25 to 26, I told myself, I was like, there's no way I'm going to walk past this finish line. You know what I mean? There's no way. I kept thinking about my son. I can't tell my son I walked past this finish line. And I got on it, brother, and I did what I can, and I finished it. I did 5 hours and 16 minutes of running.
No training.
No training. I finished it. I got a medal around my neck. And I got to tell you that 99.9% of the push that I had to finish that was because of my son and because of the battle he just fought. There was no way I could tell him I quit. The other 0.01%, I got to give a shout out to my boy Tito. He's ran probably 4 marathons now. He's the guy, he called me probably a week before my fight, and he was telling me that he was going to run this marathon. I go, yeah, send me the link. This is while I'm on the phone with him. So I'm on the phone. He sends me the link. I apply. I buy the marathon. I'm like, all right,
come
cool.
on.
Yeah, I sent him. He's like, you just got it? I go, yeah. He's holy shit. And he's one of these friends. I like to do hard shit. I'm like, I like David Goggins. I like Watson. I like the don't be a pussy mentality. That's
intense.
I'm intense like that. I've always been tough love. I like that. You could tell me, don't be a bitch, don't be this, and that kind of pushes me. I try to do that to like other people. It doesn't really work sometimes with other people. I like it. So I like to do hard shit. I actually signed up for another one called the Keys 100. It's a 100-mile race. Me and my boy Tito are doing it together. He's doing 50. I'm doing 50.
No way.
Yeah, you run from Key Largo all the way to Key West. It's 100 miles.
What is that drive, by the way? That's a couple-hour drive, right?
It's a 4-hour drive. It's a 4-hour drive.
What is that going to take?
I'm thinking it'll take us 50 miles. So we could break it up. And we're planning to bring it up like 10, 10, 10, 10.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how both of us cross the finish line at the same time at the end. But I'm thinking it'll take us probably almost 24 hours. It'll probably take us 18, 20 hours. Yeah.
So what's the purpose for this? Just to test yourself?
Just to test myself. I want to do hard shit. I want to look back when we're older and when we're gray And when I can't do shit like this, which hopefully is a long time from now,
Yeah.
you know, but not even that, you know, when my kids are grown up and you know, just, and tell them, look, I did that shit,
Yeah.
you know.
And it wasn't easy.
No, and it wasn't easy. And how did you do it? I just said I was going to do it. I told myself, and I said it out loud so people could hear me, so I could put that pressure on myself, so I could go out there and I could do it. There was no, I need to train and I'm not ready and I'm this. And every excuse in the book that we've all heard, especially you being in the position you've been. You know, I'm sure, man, I want to start working out flex, but, you know, but I got this and I got that. Listen, as for me, I do weight training 3 times a week. I wake up at 3:30. I'm at the gym at 4 a.m. Why? People are like, oh, why do you go at 4 a.m.? Because I work out from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Then not one person is up. Now my phone doesn't even vibrate. I got my shit's in the corner over there, and I don't have to worry about a phone call. Because after 6, 7 in the morning, kids got to go to school. They got to eat breakfast. Shit's calling. And my anxiety gets through the roof, and I can't get a workout in because all I'm thinking about is, you know, shit that's happening. Yeah, shit that's happening through the day. I need to do a podcast. I need to do this. So I get it done nice and early. And again, man, I like to put pressure on myself. I like to do hard shit. And there'll be a day where I'm sitting back telling stories, and I can say I ran 100 miles, I ran a marathon, I fought bare knuckle, I won the fastest knockout. I'm a bare knuckle champion, and I did it all because I just put it in my mind and I went to do it. It was like, you know, it wasn't anything. There's no outlandish story to tell you of how I got there. I just went and I did it. I woke up one day, I said I was tired of my own shit, and I got up and I did what I was supposed to do. That's
crazy, right? That when you kind of check yourself and prioritize your goals, separate in the bullshit, it's incredible what you can do.
Absolutely.
Truly.
Absolutely.
And you're like you're the poster boy for that.
Thank you. And I tell people, you know, when they ask me, like, oh, you know, what was the change? I tell them, I got tired of my own shit. I got tired of my own shit. And, you know, I've always liked to be a realist and speak the truth. And there was a time in life when I wasn't. And I felt shame. And I felt like shit. And I've turned that all around. I said, now, when I say something, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. You know, and no matter how hard it is, I gotta go out there and do it.
What advice would you give to some young kid that's watching this podcast? I was like, man, that's like me. I'm around the wrong people. I'm getting sucked into the wrong things, but I know I can achieve greatness.
I always have the same advice for all young people. Is first off, you got to take the first step in the right direction. Once you take that first step is going to give you momentum to keep going. You know, you want to go to the gym. Go to the gym one day, and I promise you, after that one day, you're going to go to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth day. And most important thing to me, the key to everything is consistency. Stay consistent. Stay consistent with what you're doing. You know, we're all human. We all have our off days. But if you stay consistent as much as possible, you're going to get, so everything, whenever you start something, whether it's fighting, whether it's training, bodybuilding, whatever it is, any job, it doesn't have to be in a sport. The beginning's always hard. It's always hard. You're always trying to figure shit out. The beginning is always hard. But then you get to a place where you kind of start figuring things out and things get easy. And your hard days are always behind you. And again, life is life. You might bump into a hard day here or there. But the majority of the time after that, it's going to be very easy. Very easy. It's just stay consistent. And that's what I've noticed is the key in life to being successful at anything in life, whether it's if you want to be famous or you just want to be successful in any job that you do, is to be consistent. Wake up every day, have your routine, you know, put that first foot in front of the other, and just go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Having a routine, as you mentioned, having that schedule, consistency, and also a demand from yourself. Because if you don't have a demand from yourself, then it's
accountability.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to fall off the path. And I mean, even for me, you know, in the last, you know, several months, I've lost a little bit of a stride. You know, nobody would know, but I know, and I demand now, especially in this last month and a half, I demand the best version of myself. And it's crazy, just as I mentioned earlier, how all these other opportunities start trickling in, and then you start getting motivated, and then you start homing in more. But one thing I do want to mention before we land the plane, because we've come up to an hour on the podcast, is one of my people say it's crazy, but I love the movie Den of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
and I there's a scene on there for everybody who doesn't know. It's a film that has got bank robberies in it, and these guys. I love the film.
Cent, Gerard
50
Butler.
Cent.
Yeah. Are you Scottish?
Welsh.
Welsh? Oh, that's right.
Yes.
You're Welsh. That's right. Because Gerard Butler is Scottish.
Yeah. We have to. Sorry, I wanted to mention this because I was watching this film for the first time, and I don't know if I was it was somewhere where I couldn't stop the thing. But I was like, hold on a minute. I swear Uly is in my favorite scene of the whole movie. Yeah. How did that come about?
So talk about that scene real quick. You have a daughter, so that's like a perfect scene if you have a daughter.
That's why I fucking love that scene.
Right.
We could describe the scene if you want, but
so my boxing coach is really great friends with Christian Gudegas, who's the director for that movie. I met Christian. Me and Christian are great friends right now because of that movie. So he was up there, had my first fight coming up. This was January 2017. He goes, hey, come up to Atlanta. We're filming this movie. I want you to be part of the movie, and we'll train up here. Okay, this is at the time where I told you I turned my phone off. I don't want to. I'm not talking to anybody. Flew up to Atlanta. It was a great opportunity too. He introduced me to the guy. Again, at that time, I was 225. I was cocked, diesel, straight muscle.
Big, bro.
Yeah. So the guy goes, hey, I want you to be an extra in my movie. And I was like, great. And that scene came about, and it was perfect, man. Yeah. If you blink, you miss me, but I'm in it.
No, I make sure I watch it every time. I've sent that scene to so many of my friends, especially who have girls, right?
Yeah, right. Because they made a meme now that says, you're when your daughter starts dating.
So 50 Cent, the scene is 50 Cent, his daughter's going to the prom,
right?
And he got this kind of kid with a little bit of swag. He's probably cool in school, right?
Right.
He's like, let me haul at you for a second, and he takes this kid who's just about to take his daughter to the prom into his garage where Uly's there. Oh my God, all the goons are training, and they scare the shit out of him. Yeah. And then when the door closes, that scene I go into live in my head when my daughter is in that situation. Yeah. And all you guys then crack up because it was all kind of front, right?
Exactly.
But again, another feather to your heart, one of many. Yeah. Before we finish and land the plane on the podcast, anything you want to shout outs or speak about that we haven't?
No, and just real quick, I want to touch on something that you said, man. That I'm a guy who I use a lot of motivational speeches, YouTube things, but motivation only lasts a long time. You need discipline to keep it going. So you can use motivation to get you started, but make sure you got the discipline to keep going. Shouts out, man. Shout out to you for sure. Love you, brother. Shout out to my wife, Ashley. I love you, babe. My family, my son, Junior, Caleb. Shout out to Fish Street Gym, and shout out to all my sponsors. You guys could look on Instagram, see all my sponsors. You guys are behind me, 1,000%. AMG, and a ton of others, man. Shout out to Celebrities Fight. Thank you for the opportunity. Yesterday was amazing to do what we did for the vets. That if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. They take care of us while we're sleeping. So
absolutely,
it's amazing, man. Thank you so much for this opportunity, man. It's been amazing.
Man, as I said, I love you too. Incredible story. I just wanted for the viewers here who may know you, see you again from the highlight reels or even the movie. Now they get to hear a story of what created the man that sits in front of me, mate. And I love people who have been able to change the trajectory of their life, sit in front of me and talk about their failures as well as the successes. And once you kind of change that trajectory and the mindset change, I know I've said this, it sounds redundant, but it truly is amazing what you can achieve in life. And you're that testimony, and I'm just excited to see what's to come from Uly. There's so many things that you're passionate about. We've already mentioned them, but there's so many other things now that you're working on that we'll talk about on a second podcast that I'm blown away and pumped about to see you now entered in these new chapters from everything we've spoken about and much more. So, as I said, if there's nothing else to say, I'm honored to have you here. And
honor's all mine, brother. Thank you, man.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will most definitely will be playing each other, hopefully playing on the same team.
Yeah.
Whenever we have.
I got to talk to Lisa. Lisa got to put us on the same team.
Yeah, because we were talking shit. I messaged him when I found out we were going to be competing in the game. Sorry, playing in the game. And then I said, listen, bro, hopefully we're on the same team, but if we're not, you know, you're my enemy. We're my enemy. We had a little shit talk before, and as I said off air, there's only so much I feel I could talk shit to you on.
then he walks off flicking you off.
Yeah, but there was a door that I closed behind me. My guy, I appreciate you. I love you. I love Ashley, and I'm so honored to hear this story and tell all my fans. So we're gonna have you back in the future. We're going to do some stuff, obviously, you know, in the gym. We'll do some stuff, but I'm going to wish you all the very best for your upcoming fight, and then seeing you with that title, that strap around your shoulder is going to happen. A lot of attraction, and one thing nobody can ever knock you on. You're a man of your word, and you will accomplish this. It's going to happen.
Thank you very much again for the opportunity to be able to tell my story. Again, your family, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Man.
Yes, sir. And this is just the beginning, man. Much more to come.
Just the beginning. From me and the monster,
Right.
we are out.